So yeah, I was just gonna come on today and make some pleasant video, things you should take on a cruise with you, right? That's a fairly common video. And as I started going through the list, I'm like, no man, no, these are not things people should take on a cruise. These are things people must take on a cruise. Everybody's out there like, oh, this is optional, that is optional. They're leading you astray. I put on one of my dad's shirts, so it's Dad Tony today here on the Lido Loca cruise show. And heed my word, these are things that you have to take. You have to take these things on a cruise with you. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Dad Tony here with the Lido Loca cruise show. Normally I would say consider subscribing, but look, this is gonna be a very prescriptive video. So I'm just gonna tell you, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button, and then we'll be done with what you need to do. So do that, okay? Do that. All right, I'm gonna count these down from the least important to the most important, and I'm gonna start off with comfortable shoes. Yeah, I said comfortable shoes. If you're already down in the comments going, what a crap video, comfortable shoes, think about it. On the cruise ship, there's no other activity that you will probably do more than walking. If you do not have a mobility issue, if you're not mobility challenged, you will be walking everywhere. You will be walking all over the cruise ship. You will be walking at port, and yeah, you need comfortable shoes if you're going to walk a lot. I know it seems like common sense, but I do see people on the cruise ships with aching feet and complaining that they did not wear their most comfortable shoes. It seems obvious, but somebody has to say it. How about Dad Tony? Comfortable shoes, you gotta take it on a cruise ship. Now, number 4, you have to take something to clean your cruise cabin with. One of the more common things that floats around the cruise ship is a little bit of a stomach issue. You know what I'm talking about, and you need wipes that will deal with that. You need to wipe down the things in your room. You need to wipe down your remote. You need to wipe down your telephone. You need to wipe down the hard surfaces. You need to check your bed. There's so many things that you need to do. So many people just blow it off. Like, I don't care. I got strong intestinal fortitude. I'm not going to have a problem. Wipe down your cabin. And not every wipe is made equally. There's only certain wipes that work for some of the things you might encounter. These wipes right here, I'll leave a link in the description. Use those. They have the stomach thing taken care of. All right, number 3, are you ready to be angry? I hope you are. You have to take tip money if you go on a cruise. I'll say it again. Let me get close. You have to take tip money if you're going on a cruise. Now, I'm not saying that you have to pay your assigned gratuities. Let's leave that dead horse on the side of the road. You can adjust your gratuities. You can only tip the people that you want to tip. But guess what? You have to tip somebody. 0 is not an option. If you tip somebody 0, if you don't tip the people that are serving you, like your room steward and the people at the restaurant, if you're removing the assigned gratuities, if you don't tip the people that you're getting service from, you're shorting people their livelihood. You're taking money out of their pocket. You got to tip those people. Again, I'm not saying you have to tip the full assigned gratuity. I can hear the father with a family of 4 out there going, it's $15 a day per person. That's $60. That seems a little excessive. I get it. Tip $20, but if you tip 0, I think you're just, I think you're cheating people. Don't do it. Yeah, I said it. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be people that disagree. We can agree to disagree, and one of us is right. I know who that is. Number 2, you cannot take a cruise without travel insurance. Now, I know people are going to say, look, I take 15 cruises. I've never had travel insurance. I've taken 100 cruises. I've never taken out travel insurance, and I'm fine. Well, look, nothing's a problem until it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Here's one example, and this is probably one of the saddest examples. This gentleman here last year suffered a stroke on his cruise. They let him off for medical treatment in Freeport, Bahamas, but the guy had 0 money. He had 0 travel insurance, and he didn't even have a passport. Could not get home from the Freeport, Bahamas because of lack of money. This is something that trip insurance, cruise insurance would have helped him out with, and this story doesn't have a happy ending. He languished there in Freeport under not great medical care until somebody donated the money, until they went through the process of being able to get home without a passport. That was a challenge. And by the time when he got home, he passed away. No good ending to that story. Nothing's a problem till it's a problem. Invest in medical insurance, travel insurance, so that you do not have problems. It's not worth the risk. Now, before I get to number one, I do have a couple honorable mentions. They're honorable because they're situational. Not everybody needs this, but for me, I cannot go on a cruise anywhere where there is daylight without some sort of sunscreen. That's right, sunny weather, bright weather, and cold weather, I will get sunburned. It's not good. My dermatologist says wrap up like a mummy. Don't take any sun directly on your skin. You're at risk for bad things. So for me, and others that have the same challenges, you got to have sunscreen. Another honorable mention is Seasick Medicine. Now, I don't get seasick. I'm fortunate that way. I get sunburnt like crazy, but I don't get seasick. But sometimes you don't know if you're going to get seasick, so you got to take Seasick Medicine with you until you know whether or not you will get seasick. Or, of course, if you're somebody who does get seasick, you got to have the Seasick Medicine. It's a must. Some might say it's optional. You could suffer through the seasickness, but why would you do that? If you don't know if you're going to get seasick, you must take it in case it starts to happen. And if you know you get seasick, I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that you have to take Seasick Medicine. It's a must. But again, situational. Not everybody has that same challenge. And the third honorable mention, some people need extra power. So you got to take like a USB charger. You got to take one of these power cubes. There's not enough outlets most of the time in the cruise ship, in the cruise cabin. And if you're somebody that likes to plug in cameras, or if you got 3 people that have 3 phones, the one plug is not going to do it, or the 2 plugs not going to do it. You got to have something like these 2 things right here. This is the USB charger. This is the power puck. I've left links in the description for both of those if you want to check them out. But yeah, not really optional for most people. And number one, if you haven't guessed it already, you have to travel with a passport. Look, I know there's plenty of people out there that say I've traveled with a birth certificate without any issues. I just told you about the poor guy that's stuck in Freeport, can't get out of there because he doesn't have a passport. Well, how about this story that just went down in Funky Town? This poor little kid, look at this kid. This poor little kid scratched his eye before he got on the cruise ship, just a little nick. And then somewhere after he got on the cruise ship, his whole face got infected. This cut got infected. His eye swole up. They took the kid to the medical facility on the cruise ship. They racked up a $13,000 medical bill, and the kid just kept getting worse and worse. The swelling kept happening. His eye swole up. Fever, sepsis kicking in, and along the way, there was an opportunity for the couple to get off with their son in Cozumel and go to a hospital there. That was the recommendation of the cruise ship. Take your baby to Cozumel and go to the hospital there. They got in touch with the American consulate. The American consulate said, do not go to the hospital in Cozumel. Get this kid home. And they said, well, we would like to get the kid home, but none of us have passports. Well, that turned out to be a problem. So they didn't have a reasonable way to get out of Cozumel in a timely fashion because they didn't have passports. They'd have to go through a process of applying for temporary passports. And time was of the essence. They needed to get this kid home. They couldn't medevac. It wasn't working out because of this lack of documentation, lack of passport. And so they made the decision, look, we're just going to stay on the cruise and ride it out. So they had a couple days of their baby going through this situation, the sepsis, the concerns, what that was going to do to his brain. And finally, they got off the cruise ship. They got back home, got off the cruise ship, and now the child is in the hospital and he's recovering. But wow, I mean, that just happened. So, you know, not just pulling stuff out of thin air. The poor gentleman in Freeport was just in last, I think, November, December, and then this poor kid, it just happened. So, look, yeah, maybe I'm being a little hardcore. Maybe I'm being a little prescriptive. Maybe I'm being a little okay boomer, Dad Tony, but it's not worth the risk. The cost to get a passport, minimal if you're going to travel. The cost to get travel insurance, minimal. I know times are tight. Everybody struggles. But it's not worth the. I couldn't imagine one of my kids being in that situation. And so, yeah, I'm going to come hard. I'm going to say, even though these things are technically optional, they're not. So do we agree or disagree? is there anything that you would add to this list? I did do a video about traveling with a birth certificate. There are some gotchas there, but I wouldn't do it. But check that video out if you are going to travel with a birth certificate. You might find some tips. Thanks so much for stopping by. This is Tony with the Lido Loca Cruise Show. Oh, correction. This is Dad Tony with the Lido Loca Cruise Show. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.